what's going on? Thanks for checking out another video. Real quick before we get into the video today, as usual, I have some updates. First and foremost, as always, you can find all of my prints for sale up on ryanjleone.com/prints. Please go check them out, maybe pick one up, support a photographer, have some cool art on the wall. Everybody wins. Second, this past weekend, I finally did a shoot with my Intrepid 4x5 large format camera. I had about 8-9 good friends come meet me in Brooklyn at my friend Andrew's studio, and I took a bunch of beautiful portraits with my Intrepid 4x5. Here's just a little sneak peek of behind the scenes. 3, 2, 1. So that was this past weekend. I have about like 9 or 10 of these, both double-sided filled with film, Portra 400, Ilford, and some Kodak T-Max. I'm super excited to drop these off tomorrow at Bleecker to get them developed, and I can't wait to show everybody, including my friends, the photos that I made. So in today's video, we're gonna talk about probably my newest, favorite, cheapest film stock that I've come across and really realized how amazing it was after I got a roll developed this past weekend at Bleecker when I was walking around in New York City. So this past weekend, I went to the Guggenheim Museum and I shot some photos with Ilford. I went there with a very good friend of mine and we walked around. I've always wanted to go to the Guggenheim. I've always lived here and I've never just had a chance to go to it. So I took a roll of Ilford and we just went there. And real quick, before we get to my favorite roll of new film stock, let me just show you some photos from the Guggenheim. So we're gonna do that first, then we'll come back and we'll talk about my new favorite film stock. So that was my day, and those are the photos I got on my Canon AE1 35mm with Ilford HP 400. As you know, as you could see in the photos, a lot of them were very dark. It was very dark in the Guggenheim. They were doing this like video installation, so they needed to be pretty dark. But I did get some good shots in there. Got some Jackson Pollocks. Super happy about that. But that was my day spent at the Guggenheim. When I was done with that, I didn't want to go home yet. It was the first beautiful day in New York City. It was like 80 degrees out. It was perfect. So as my friend left to go home, I went down to the Lower East Side to where I got my film developed, and I was gonna drop my film off, but I came across a roll in my bag that I had left, and I figured, well, let me just walk around this area. It's right near Little Italy, it's right near Chinatown, and just see what it was. And that film, Lomography 400 color C41 35mm film, and I am in love with this film. As many people probably know, Lomography is a camera and film company. They mostly deal with bringing back nostalgic kind of feeling lenses and cameras, but they also make film. And their film is fantastic for a bunch of reasons that we're gonna go over. First and foremost, it's cheap. You can get, I think, 3 rolls for like $20. And that's for the 35mm. I'll put all the pricing and links in the description below. I don't know it off the top of my head, but you can get it for a 35mm camera and for your 120 medium format cameras. Another reason I really love it is the colors and the saturation is just incredible. Like some of the photos just came out so perfect. They have this beautiful vintage look to them, and they have just enough saturation where it looks good, but it's not too much. So I loaded this up and I started walking around the Lower East Side, Chinatown, and Little Italy. And I was just really popping shots off, and mostly when I was walking around Little Italy and Chinatown, because there's a lot of color there. And there's a lot of iconic, great things to see down there. So as I walked around Little Italy and Chinatown, I just started getting my surroundings and taking shots with this beautiful film. Now, it's widely known that this film is actually a rebranding of Kodak Color VR, which is something that Kodak used to make back in the day, like 80s and 90s. Now, this doesn't mean that the film is expired. It just means that Kodak wasn't making it anymore for whatever reason. So Lomo bought it up and rebranded under Lomography. But the great thing about it is you're getting Kodak quality film and saturation for like a third of the price, and it's a great film stock. And as you can see in some of these photos of some skaters, I came across the color and just the accuracy, and also the low grain for an ISO 400 film is just, you can't beat it. So yeah, I've really fallen in love with this film a lot. So much that I bought some for my Pentax 6.7, the 120 film. So I'm gonna load some of that up this weekend or the next and go see what I can get out of it. But the film is just, it's really, really incredible. For the price, you get really sharp, low grain, well-saturated images for, again, a third of the price you would for something. Yes, there's things out there like Kodak Color and Kodak Gold and Kodak Max, Ultra Max. There's just something unique about this that you're not gonna find in those stocks. Those stocks are great for just, cheap film to pop in your point and shoot, but this, you can almost make professional images with this. And again, the saturation and the vintage look that it gives you in something like a 35mm camera is just incredible. I highly recommend it. And it's probably one of my new favorite stocks next to Kodak Portra 400, which will always be my favorite and everybody's favorite. But I really, really enjoyed shooting it. And I think that, check it out. Buy a box of 3. You can even buy one from places like B&H and Adorama, but I highly recommend just buying a box and playing with it. It's got some really great grain representation, some really color, and just take a look at some more photos. These are gonna be some more just showing the range and how good it is. And I shot this at box speed, and I did edit it a little in Lightroom, but again, color film holds the highlights in, and this film does it just perfectly. So I really hope you liked this. I hope you liked this video. I hope you enjoyed the photos, and I hope you go pick up some of this. I'm definitely gonna be shooting more with it. I'm gonna be buying a bunch more of it because it's the perfect kind of film for me. It's just a little saturated, but not over the top. So I'm gonna be buying more of this and taking more photos of it. And I can't wait to put some in my Pentax 6.7 and see what I can get out with a bigger negative. I don't think they make sheet film. That would be awesome. But for right now, I'm just gonna stick with 35mm and 120. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I showed you a brand new film stock that you'll fall in love with like I did. I hope you enjoyed the photos. Please go check out my website, ryanjleone.com/prints, and pick up some prints. Please subscribe, follow, and like, and I will see you in the next one. Remember to just shoot, and I'll talk to you later.